let me turn on my dumpster fire and try not to drop Walden in the process. Did you see somebody called him Garfield?
I know.
What the fuck? Does he even look like a Garfield? I don't think so.
Is he as round as a Garfield?
Not quite. Plus, he doesn't eat human food, so.
And that's the podcast.
Thanks for joining. Not a lot to talk about this week. There's just nothing happening.
No, nothing. What do we know about the guy who's taking over Graham Planter? What the fuck is that man's name?
Rapey McPlanter. Yeah.
Yeah. What do we know about the dude who jumped in and is taking over?
Troy Jenkins, Troy Johnson,
Troy McClure.
I miss Bill, who originally played Troy McClure. Anyway, nothing. I know nothing.
Okay. I have not dug in at all. I've just been paying attention to city council and watching sparks fly between some of the council members, which is the same stuff we see all the time. It's either down party lines or somebody loses their cool. And then last week there was the tie-breaking vote on the amendment for the budget.
I don't want. Can we not say the word?
Budget?
No.
Amendment?
No.
Daddy?
I mean, objectively funny. But saying daddy
brilliant on many, many levels. Come on.
But it's planting images that I want nothing to do with. My brain has enough problems. It doesn't need
a daddy.
Keith Wilson daddy issues.
You don't want there. Keith as your daddy.
No, as anyone's daddy.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if anyone wants the keyboard elf as their daddy. They just want him to make cookies.
That just makes everything worse. I don't like it. It makes my brain sad, the whole daddy thing. Although it was funny. It was like, gotta call daddy in to save the vote. The criticism was legitimate, though. In the end, 10 councilors voted for the resolution that passed. But the only people that compromised at all were people who were on the progressive side.
Well, and that's how it always goes. They tell people you have to get along, you have to compromise, and blah, blah, blah. But it's never the people who are actually telling you to compromise.
No, just absolutely intractable. And there were a lot of reasonable suggestions put forward, and everybody else was just stalwart and intractable on it. And it was still a middling resolution in that there were still far more jobs lost than needed to be.
Yes.
And the most stunning thing that came out of it all was the open admission that when the mayor's office and I'm guessing City Administrator Lee were looking whom to cut, they didn't really do due diligence. And that should have sunk the entire process right there. There should have been a reset. There should have been, okay, we're already past the budget deadline. It doesn't fucking matter. Go back and do your fucking work and do it well and come back around with a different budget offer. But the whole fact that they had all this time to spend breaking down the new city administrative offices and look at the roles and what everybody does and still wound up like, no, we didn't really look very closely at things. How the fuck does that even happen? It's willful negligence.
I don't know what city you live in.
No, it's one thing to be playing politics with. We can't possibly cut police training, even though they're supposedly the best trained police in the city. And we have to make sure that we can put 200 more job openings in the PPV budget, even though they have nearly 100 that they haven't been able to fill that are
underspent funds. Let's rate it.
Underspent funds, but those won't be touched to make up for the other things. There's all this due diligence that is always in play, or lack of due diligence that's always in play. But the whole idea that you have a brand new city administrator who has his own staff, you have a mayor's office whose sole job is helping to run the city. There's no longer a legislative voting piece of it unless he's going to be the tie-breaking daddy. This is your entire job, and you still got it wrong.
Well,
It's mind-boggling just how incompetent. I struggle with this because I don't dislike these people necessarily, but when you can't do the most basic functions of what you were elected to do or hired to do, I have no sympathy for what comes your way from that.
he doesn't have to really do his job. He has the job.
But yes, he does.
I mean, who's going to fire him?
He'll get fired, that's for sure. He's not going to get reelected. No, guarantee that. Not at this point.
No, but he's got job security for, his term.
Yeah, well, he had job security with the trucking business too. It's his dad's business he took over, right? So he's not worried about it. But I remember the debates, and I remember at first
at the church.
At the church, thank you. When the moderator had asked each of the candidates who would be their first choice, if not themselves, to be mayor. And the only person that didn't pick someone else was Wilson. Wilson's like, no, it's me. I'm the best person for this job. Well,
okay, Mr. Burns.
Clearly you haven't been, because this is the most basic core function of what you're required to do is to build a budget. And it was an austerity budget of hysteric proportions, and you didn't do the basic diligence, much less due diligence.
Well, he didn't run on a platform saying he was actually going to fix the budget. He ran on a platform saying he was going to get rid of visible homeless.
And he knows how to run the city because he knows how to run a business. I'm terrified about how that business was run. If you can't figure out job responsibilities and who's critical and who's not.
He ran a business the way a lot of large businesses do, where they just cut people left, right, and center, but they keep the admin. I mean, we've seen Nike do it. We've seen Intel do it. We see banks do it. And then you see that the folks who need the services, the branches close or other things close, or suddenly everything slows down, but folks in their suit and tie are doing quite fine.
Well, and you should never run a city or a government like a business, because it's not a fucking business.
Well, our city's being run like a business.
A small blood vessel on my eye.
Well, don't have an aneurysm.
It's
well,
not
our
a
city's
business. You can't run a government like a business. It doesn't exist like a business.
But our city's being run like that. To a certain degree, our state's being run like somebody's on drugs. And then our federal government's being run like it's a business.
Or
into the ground.
Everybody in Oregon's high except for me. I mean, I have half a glass of wine, and you. But they're all fucking high.
No, they're all in it for themselves is the problem. They're in it for themselves. They're collecting the paycheck. They're holding status quo. They're not going to make any major strides. They're not going to do what we're seeing happen in New York City. God forbid they actually want to do stuff.
I would love to see a transformational.
New word.
Transformational. I like it. Transformational agenda.
You keep inventing new vocabulary.
Transformational agenda. I would love to see that. I'm not even asking for that. I'm asking for basic competency. And I'm not even saying good competency. I'm saying basic competency is this is your only job. You hired a city administrator to do this with you, and you failed terribly. And it affects hundreds of people's jobs and livelihoods. It affects the city's services. If you're going to scream austerity measures, you have to back it up. And in the past,
you're asking too much. You know that. I get told that I have high standards because all I ask for is basic competency.
I have low standards, and they're not being met. I have low standards.
I have been told my standards are too high or very high. I've been told that I am mean because then when something goes wrong, I ask what happened. I don't let it slide. I just ask, just tell me what happened. Yeah. Perhaps your computer broke. That's fine. Then that's the excuse. However, if you decide to go and watch, binge watch some stupid TV show instead of your job, yes, there is a problem. But I've been told that me asking, just get your shit done by the deadline, that apparently I'm the mean boss. So this is how the city's attitude is. So here we have a mayor who's just going to do random shit behind the scenes, going to make weird deals, going to put out newsletters that are so slanted and biased, going to make it sound like the city council doesn't like him, except for the few who like have their head so far up his ass, and it's like, oh God. And then you have the progressive city council. It's actually trying to do things honestly, transparently, and make sure that people aren't going to end up on the street or end up fucked over. But yet we have this motor center where nobody can go except if people who make what, 200,000 a year or whatever the fuck you're doing, which is whatever. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to yuppify fucking Portland.
More. Yuppify more. Yeah.
Yes.
Had a conversation actually earlier today about how like Woodstock and St. John still have a little bit of that not so corporate nature of Portland that was prevalent in the 80s and 90s, a little bit of grit, small neighborhood venues that still exist and just scrape along, and everything else has gone corporate and shiny. I mean, Beulah Land is maybe an exception to that, or Pullman's for talking bars and stuff. But anyway, whole point being that the city isn't what it used to be. And there's, I think Willamette, we called it Barmageddon because Robo Taco's gone. Robo Taco
I know that's gone.
That's yesterday. And that's fucking brutal. But I get it. The guy was tired of trying to run it and keep it going. I mean, I've lost most of my favorite venues in the last 6-7 years, and sure, a lot of that's from COVID, but almost all of it is because of people trying to bleed as much money out of each square foot as possible, more than anything else, and nobody can sustain that shit. So, what are we building towards? What are we trying to save here? By pouring millions of dollars into an arena that is all under shady deals, yet we can't keep mom and pop restaurants open.
We can't even keep people housed. There's approximately 5,000 empty apartments right now in Portland. I just looked it up. There's about 50 homes, condos, etc., that are in foreclosure. And the average,
far more than that, but yeah.
I'm sure it is. The average rent right now, which has actually gone up in the last 2 months, is $1,743 for a 1-bedroom.
I sit here and I think about my rent, and it's a lot. And then I have to check myself because for a 90-year-old house with 3 bedrooms, granted they're tiny, this is one of them. The only thing that you could have sleeping in here comfortably is a cat who is not fucking Garfield.
Basically twin beds in every bedroom, but not enough for a bureau and a desk aside from that.
Yeah, very, very tiny. And it's in line with what everybody else is paying. And it's just kind of like, how is that even possible?
Well, the median salary in Portland is $62,000.
Yeah.
So why, so yes, just keep taking our fucking money to renovate a stadium, which they can pay for themselves.
Yeah.
And then the WNBA Fire put out a thing saying they need the stadium too because they should play in a quality stadium. Yes, you actually should. You should have a top tier stadium for your women's basketball. However, that letter was like, who pressured you to do that?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And why don't you say, hey, Dundon, fucking get your shit together because you're fucking everybody over.
I've been thinking about this, and that frightens me. His name. Have you watched Law and Order? Dun dun.
Yeah, you think it's that?
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit. We all know he doesn't
I know he
shit.
doesn't give a shit. I just don't understand it. All the histrionics of that city council was bonkers. And you were messaging me. You're like, dude, you have to see this. Like, I can't. I'm working. I have to pay rent. And so I went back and I watched like the last hour of it. I'm like, this is fucking bonkers. This is so just not adults.
I will say, though, I did appreciate when Councilor Avalos just reached over and turned off Smith's mic. I was like, thank God somebody did. Because, it is very, very hard to keep order on that council. And I know Dunphy tries, but he definitely freezes. He's got a freeze thing before he actually, makes a decision. Bro freezes, and I get it. But part of me is like, are you afraid of her? Because you will shut other people down faster, and I've noticed that.
Yeah. Smith will pull out the same card she always does.
Mm-hmm.
And that for,
And it's not an AARP card.
it's not an AARP card, that's for sure.
Mm.
And that's not reasonable to begin with, but I didn't, when I heard that, I didn't believe it. But then I was like, holy shit, that was
Mm-hmm.
like a bold fucking move. And I love Candace, and so no criticisms, no notes, right? But like, damn.
Somebody had to. I mean, you know, certain council members are allowed to interrupt, get out
Yeah,
of order, and then call for order. And it's like, but you've been interrupting everybody. You've been like
yeah,
pushing all this shit. And then you get on your social media and you say that people are unfair to you. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing to everyone else?
yeah, no, exactly. It was reasonable, given the circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, how often do we hear Council Smith go point of order, and it's like, Jesus Christ, you get very upset when you don't get your way.
There was a bunch of back and forth that happened between Zimmerman and someone else. And I was like, what is happening up there? This isn't normal. You're talking about amendments, you're talking about stuff, but you're not doing it in a Robert's rules type fashion.
No,
And you're
it was
just letting it fucking slide, and that just builds into the whole unable to manage the chaos dynamic, right? I appreciate Dunphy's intentions, but he has to hold the shit together because they're not self-regulating.
No, no. Either he loses control or, like I said, I think he freezes and doesn't know what to do.
They need a court, what was the guy from Night Court? Bull. They need a very large bald man to get aggressive when people are out of line.
Well, there are several bald men on there, but they're just not, but they are part of
Yeah,
council,
that
so no,
doesn't
they
help.
can't do that.
That's true.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, what if we limited testimony to each counselor for each round that they get to speak to 4 minutes, and we gong them if they go over, then we cut their mic?
They would just keep getting back in the queue is the problem.
Only get to go 3 times.
How about a cattle prod? Or is that too violent?
I feel like there'd be some sort of OSHA regulation against that.
Okay, I'm not allowed apparently to bring back lawn darts. I'm not allowed apparently to shock people. What am I allowed to do? God damn
Come
it.
up with less
The
violent
fuck?
and deadly means to create order.
Slingshot?
Air horn. Just talk.
Mm,
Don't cut off the mic. Just start using an air horn. Shut them down.
how about like a glitter bomb?
I honestly do believe, though, if you're going to limit public testimony to 3 minutes or less, 5 minutes of initial statements, then 3 minutes. If we're relegated to it, why aren't you guys relegated to it?
Because they're
I
council.
don't fucking care. I'm the constituent. My voice is more important than theirs. They're supposed to be consuming the information that we give them and making decisions on it, not pontificating or screaming about unfair, point of order, you're just racist, whatever it is, right? But by allowing people to have these interrogatives back and forth ad nauseum, or go off on rants and start impugning other people, and I love the term impugn came up several times. Let's not impugn. Are we impugning now? I feel impugned. Help, I'm being impugned. Anyway, fucking impugn this. I feel like if people can't play by the reasonable rules, then they should have to play by the unreasonable rules that they subject, I don't know, people who fucking live here by, and who don't get big salaries for sitting up on a dais and being important.
Well, the council salary is not that big. However, Raymond Lee's is over 300,000.
Yeah, I mean, the council salary is not that huge. It's still a decent salary, though. It's better than,
it's good.
It's twice the median plus.
Yeah. But,
But
they're not buying a yacht anytime
no,
soon.
this is true. I think everybody should be relegated to small boxes of discussion and debate. Make your fucking point and shut the fuck up.
But that's not the Portland way. It's to talk passively and roundabout and
And
pussyfoot.
impugn.
Yes, apparently we impugn. I was shocked that people knew that word. I was like, ooh, big words coming out today.
We are a well-educated city. I mean, theoretically.
Yeah, but I do wonder if some people spend too much time in the sun and then their little brain melts a little bit.
Well, they don't get enough of it, so they go outside and it's an outsized exposure.
And then they ride their bikes naked and too many things get exposed.
I've been an avid bicyclist most of my life, and
potentially stuck to the
the
seat.
least pleasant thing I can think of doing is riding my bike naked.
Naked.
Yeah.
Yes. I just would think things stick to the seat that shouldn't be sticking to the
Yeah,
seat.
no, a stick or
Nothing looks good squished against the seat.
yeah, correct. I was gonna go with an image, and I decided to. You're welcome, Portland, who are listening, that I did not exercise my brain. No, it does not look good. It's not. I miss critical mass. I miss the intentionality of the protest bike rides that were specifically focused on fossil fuels and stuff. Naked bike rides, just a big ass fucking party like everything else, like SantaCon. Not that SantaCon ever had any kind of political statement that they were trying to make, other than people can dress up and be belligerent as fuck and puke in the streets a lot. And everybody's having.
They do that anyway.
Well, is it Halloween or is it Thursday? Yes.
Or is it the
You
purge?
know,
Or is it just the day that ends in Y?
yeah, I miss critical mass.
That was different. I mean, that actually had a point.
Yeah.
Whatever the point was originally of the naked bike ride has been
Oh, it's
lost in
totally
translation.
lost. It's just a bunch of sticky seat flesh continuums.
That's disgusting.
It's still not going as bad as I was going to. So you're welcome.
I mean, at least you're not talking about touching anymore, but that's disgusting.
Well, now that you brought it up, there was something else I wanted to talk about, and now I can't even think of it.
Sticky, touching, bike seats, squished,
No,
impugned.
no, impugned.
I've been impugned to the bike seat.
It's double impunity. Ah ha ha ha. Anyway, that doesn't even make sense.
No, and I don't know how many people who listen to this podcast have ever seen the movie Double Indemnity.
No, that's true. You should. It's a great movie.
Oh, it's a wonderful movie. And she is one of the best.
Yeah, it is artful. This weekend, Pickathon.
This
There's a few tickets left for some days, I think, but going to be hard to get in, but I am excited for it.
Hippies in the woods.
It's not Oregon Country Fair.
Oh, I don't even know what, that's not even like hippies. I'm not sure
No,
what that is.
that's
Like,
something beyond, but I mean, Pickathon is so not hippie-ish. I mean,
no, it's becoming more and more yuppie hippie.
all the time I've been going there, it's been.
And then a couple of the people who are like, I'm a vegan and
Well, it's Portland. There's always going to be unshowered vegans running around.
Hence the soap rant from last week.
Which I feel like we should get sponsored by Dr. Bronner's or something.
Oh my God, that would be beautiful. Everyone now gets to smell like peppermint.
The peppermint Castile soap, it's wonderful. Yep. Just careful where you wash and how aggressively, because.
Nope. Just go for it. People go for it. And in fact, use the scrub brush that you use in the kitchen on a pan. Use that. Just take off all the dead. Let's go. Just scrape yourself clean.
Several layers down. I don't even think it's quite yuppified. It is just fucking chill. People are chill there. And it's unlike any other festival I've been to in that there's all these stages, there's all these different types of music, and people there are wandering around and maybe mildly altered here and there, but pretty polite to each other and plenty of space. Like I've been to Cruel World, which is like, yeah, it's like 5 stages and every stage feels like an arena event. So I'm really looking forward to the downtime and unplugging my brain from all this for a few days.
Okay.
So, but I'm not sure why I brought that up because there really aren't many tickets left. But go next year. Unless you're going to impugn someone, then please don't show up if you're impugn attentions. No, that doesn't work.
You should write down the words you make up because they are kind of funny.
I try. Years ago, I had a friend who was either going to hang out with me or go to a thing with a girlfriend, and it was going to be a rodeo. So I texted him like, "Rodeo or Nodeo?"
Not
Yeah.
shocked.
So I
And with that, no. What else is going? There's the fires
yeah,
are
I was going to
actually
say that
ridiculous
makes me
and scary and
that
sad.
that was the thing. My friends who live in Warm Springs and sisters returned to their homes today, but they had an
Okay.
immediate evacuation 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So
Yeah.
there's good news in that, but it is terrifying what's happening here and in fucking Europe.
I was actually supposed to go to Sisters this past weekend, and then we had to change plans and head up north to Washington instead because of the fires. And it was questionable of like, is the place we're staying still going to be standing and things
Yeah.
like that. But also, I-84 is closed in certain parts because of the
It's
fires.
just absolutely unbelievable because it's all preventable. And those fucking hippies that we impugn on this podcast have been screaming about this shit for 50, 60 years.
Yes, but then the newer hippies say don't cut the trees, don't thin the forest, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't thin the forest, I mean, even Sean Davis said we need to thin the forest more than we do.
In a smart way. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
but yeah,
But when everything's so binary with people who do not educate
yeah,
themselves, which we know exists, they're like, oh, no, you can't cut down trees. And it's like, no, no, we
yeah.
can.
You
We
can do it
can.
smartly.
Like,
You can
don't cut down the trees for the PG power line. And it's like, okay, then do we not want power? Do we not want upgrades to
not
our
for
infrastructure?
data centers, we don't. I'm totally not okay with any of that.
No, I'm not. I don't really want data centers here.
Well, when they say that the current infrastructure can't support the future, they're not talking about residential homes. We're not building tons of new homes. We're not saying that there's a brand new load on the line because of the residents all of a sudden are, I don't know, using 220 toasters, right? It's all for
No, but the more people who are buying the apartment-sized washer dryers and the condos, when folks are like, "Oh, I bought a condo and I'm gonna put a" we are actually using more load. We have more air conditioners than we did 10 years ago. We have more
because
stuff.
because of climate change, but yeah.
Exactly. So it's like,
So
apparently the solution to climate change is to actually ruin the climate more somehow. The other solution, apparently, to having data centers is people are like, well, why don't we just tax them and then we can use the money for nonprofits and for social housing? And it's like, no, 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 no. How about no data centers and we figure out something
yeah,
else?
well, I mean, if the data centers are for AI, that's losing money every time you use an AI prompt, they lose money. So if you
Hmm.
want to use AI, I say I encourage this and do it in a way that is say thank you and please and chat GPT, how is your day today? And they lose money every just but only use the free platform. No, don't really do that. But if you do use them, do that. If businesses want access to all this extra power, they need to fucking pay for it. It shouldn't come out of our pockets. And it shouldn't come at the destruction of like Forest Park.
Hmm.
There's different ways of doing things, and this is not the right way to go about it. We talk about doom loops. PGE is a fucking doom loop.
Well, here's the interesting thing about the Forest Park stuff that PG never brought to the table while that was all going on about whether or not we cut down the trees. Not all of them were old growth. That was kind of like a little thing that people threw in, but they were supposed to maintain where that power line was and they didn't. So there was overgrowth. And the problem was is that some of the trees were leaning onto the power line. Some of them were growing through through the
So
wires and
they're not
shit.
doing their job in the first place.
No, so they weren't doing their job. It went so long, it got so negligent that they were like, we need to do this. And then all they talk about is upgrading the infrastructure. And it's like part of that actually meant new poles. It didn't actually mean like expanding and the other part was, oh, we've been actually breaching our
Yeah.
contract. That never made it to the table. If that had, it may have been more understandable of, oh, if this tree ever takes out this power line, blah, 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 blah. That didn't hit the table. They just kept talking big picture, which is very
But they keep
easy to then
raising the
counter
rates
that.
to do all the maintenance, and that's always their
Right.
argument, but if they're not doing their
Right.
job with it,
then why are we raising the
why
rates?
why are they not a public entity? Why are they not a
Why, if you buy a motor center, are you not keeping it a top
why are they
first
not a
class?
PUD, a public utility district?
I mean, apparently you can buy things, you can do stuff, you can have a contract, and if it's not enforced, then that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter because you're just going to do shit anyway.
Nope. Right. And then when things hit a critical mass, like trees growing through the wires, and God forbid that tree falls, or if it one day, shocks, a fire could start. Sorry, you can't cut it down now because guess what? The environmental side is taking precedence, which I understood. I was like, no, I don't want to cut down all the old trees, but can we fucking trim what you were supposed to trim? And the answer was no, because they didn't pose their argument correctly.
Well, that
It's
was
like saying, oh,
intentional, though. I guarantee you, like, well, if we create this
absolutely.
as a problem, then we don't have to go argue for it. Still didn't
And
fucking
we don't
work
have to
for
admit
them.
that we fucked
Yeah.
up, that we've been fucking up for 20, 30 years, or we haven't maintained our side of the bargain, and now we have to do this. It's all about skirting fucking responsibility. If you say, hey, I fucked up, I didn't trim these trees, or I didn't keep things maintenance level where it should be, or if you like, hey, I bought the motor center and I was supposed to keep it a first class whatever, and I have done jack shit, but the locker rooms look real good. Why are we the ones who have to fucking pay for this shit? Like, fuck you. You don't know how to do your own fucking job.
Well,
Or, hey, I'm going to solve homelessness and I'm going to put down all these shelters that are going to annoy the shit out of people and not have any services. So now it's just a warehouse of homeless people, and they hate the shelters and they get yelled at and they get told to shut up in the
and the
shelters,
shelters
and
get
there's lights
closed
out
anyway, and they're right back in
and
the
they get
street.
closed anyway. And people get attacked in the bathrooms.
No, it's all.
And it doesn't make the news. But if you know these people, they tell you, I'm afraid to go to the shelter because if I go pee, somebody like takes my shit from my bed or comes in and throws me against the wall and digs through my pockets. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I was just going to say it all should come, the whole argument should come full circle to if you don't know how to do your job, you should get the fuck out of the way.
And then you get people who take over other jobs and they say, oh, it's a new dawn, it's a new day. And meanwhile, they've done nothing.
No, it's.
And they will continue to do nothing and collect a paycheck.
And on that note.
And there's a couple of nonprofits right now where that seems to be the story.
Why should they be immune, or
why should they strive for more? Just keep status quo.
Just
get your 100,000 paycheck, $100,000 a year paycheck.
Yeah,
make some cute little reels that make no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Hey, friend, donate $5. No, go fuck yourself. Why don't you do something for once? Do your job. Do you know what your job is? You don't know. There's not a lot of accountability in this city.
No, there is not.
In all across the board.
This is true.
Which is why we kvetch once a week.
I guess one last thing, the PPA petition to be on the November ballot likely does not have enough actual verified signatures to be on it.
Well, that's good because they lied the whole way to get the ones they do have.
And there's documented evidence of that. So that's
that should have been kiboshed from the get-go.
Yeah, that's a bonus because it's just fucking stupid to begin with.
No, but they're going to try again.
It'll have to be next year, or not next year, in 2 years. So,
can Aaron Schmaltz retire?
I think he likes his job.
Schmaltz needs to quit his job. He needs to find something else to do with his life because honestly, all these things, I get it. He's trying to quote unquote protect his people. Wouldn't we all? But the way he's doing it is not fair to majority of people in this city.
No, and it's got to be a miserable job. It really has to be. I can't imagine having different conversations with different tones of voice to meet the. It seems really disingenuous.
Oh, the whole thing was a sneaky little thing. And I don't know who trained them. I don't know who trained the petition people, but I know that some people took the job not even knowing what the fuck they were doing. It was just because the money, cash on hand. And some of the people who took that job are people who are homeless or temporarily housed because cash on hand. And they're like, I need the money. So they hustled. The petition
itself, it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. And it just feels like a let's monkey wrench the PSEF funds because cops hate green. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, and that's the problem I have. I did a screed about intellectual dishonesty the other day, and sometimes I can see the argument even if I disagree with it. I don't see the argument here.
It doesn't benefit them directly to have an environmental fund. However, it's the same. Like, it
Well,
doesn't benefit me.
trying
It
to
doesn't
create
benefit you
200
directly.
more jobs when you can't fill the ones that you have doesn't make any sense to me, period.
No, but your pot keeps growing
I
bigger and
get
bigger.
that. Then campaigns saying we need more money so that our pension keeps growing faster. Don't try to couch
Well,
it in
there's also
something
that.
else, right? That's what I mean
Well, and
about
then there's the
intellectual dishonesty.
overtime. Well, and there's the overtime, and there's the retire, rehire program and things like that. And I'm sure there's ways they can reallocate their budget as the year goes by. So they want a bigger pool. The thing is though, it's like, I'm sure you've seen this. You go camping more than I do. You see people trash the
Well,
campground. And how does that benefit you? It actually hurts you. And it's like, what if one day this is gone? Clearly, people want to go camping or they want to go fishing or they want to go hunting and stuff. But then if you trash it and it goes away, you've actually shot yourself in the foot. The thing is that people don't see that because at that moment in time, they don't see the benefit to them
well, it's somebody
directly.
else's problem. It's going to be the
Right. And somebody will not buy a hybrid car, an electric car, until there's a tax incentive to do this. Like, the thing is, we almost have to bribe people to give a shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you get the police, the PPA to give a shit about Portland Clean Energy
Yeah.
Fund?
I don't know. I feel like the whole ballot initiative is disingenuous to begin with. So,
You know, how do you get the mayor to give a shit about the Clean Energy Fund to not rate it as well? How do you get the mayor? You know,
well, if the mayor and the city administrator did their job in the first place and figured out how much money they really do have and whom they needed to keep, it wouldn't have been a problem because I guarantee you there's hundreds of millions of dollars in bureau couch cushions, like there was with Housing Bureau.
Oh, I'm sure, but that became the good one to smack around and, you know.
Yeah. So I
mismanagement of funds.
do
Where's it go?
accountability, do your fucking job. And if you're not doing your
Well, the
job,
arts tax too. What the
you
fuck?
can't do anything right. You really can't do
Everything we
anything
do
right.
is supposed to have good intent and then no follow through, no follow up, no project management, no accountability.
Well, it's like the
And then it's like, you know what?
The whole relocation ordinance. Great idea. Where's the data? What happens if a landlord doesn't give the money? Where's the venue to complain and get it from the landlord? None of it exists. We have no idea how many people have been paid relo or deserve to be paid relo because there is nothing behind it other than the good faith effort. And if landlords worked in good faith, you wouldn't need a fucking no cause eviction relo thing, right? It just.
But this all is typical Portland.
It is.
It's kind of like when you're sick or something happens to you. Right? Instead of somebody saying, "Hey, do you want me to Grubhub you dinner?" Instead of giving you a direct thing to think about, and you could say, "No, I have enough food," or, "Hey, do you want me to like pick up your mail for you?" or whatever it is. What people do here is they say, "Let me know if you need anything," which then puts the emotional labor back on you to tell me what you need from me. And it's like, "Hey, Kip, I hear you have COVID," kind of thing. It's like, "Do you want me to Grubhub food to your house? Or do you want me to drop something off at your door because I can?" And if you said no, that's fine. But if I was like, "Hey, let me know if you need something," then it's like you're thinking, well, I could use maybe cough drops or I
feel
could
like you're
use lunch or
impugning
whatever.
passive aggressiveness.
This fucking city. Get your shit together. I have said this.
On with my hair. Why didn't you say there's a cowlick?
I thought you were doing the Superman curl.
Well, yeah.
No, this fucking city. You want change. You want the city to be better. That means you also sometimes have to call out what is wrong with it. And part of that is that nobody wants to say anything. And then when they finally do, it just becomes this big thing about, ooh, somebody used the word daddy. And it's like, yeah, because she's fucking sick and tired of nothing happening, nothing moving, nothing going in a direction that is actually going to help us.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I saw her the day after and I was like, no, I totally get why you did that. I know it probably isn't the greatest thing to do, but somebody had to fucking say it.
It was really funny, actually.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody has to call this out. Like, these patterns exist. This bullshit exists. There's all this other underlying belly of passiveness. And then we wonder why shit's broken. And it's because nobody was proactive. Now we're all reacting. And now you have the austerity budget. Now you have the same shit. You know what? We're going to be back here in September with the fall towel.
Yeah. And nothing will have changed.
Can we at least like have some critical thinking? Don't just follow anyone. Like, make sure they actually have values that will actually enhance the city. Coffee with a cop. No, I don't want coffee with a cop. I want coffee with people who have 2 or 3 jobs, who can't make ends meet, whose kid has to do the school lunch and is getting denied.
Yeah.
Whose grocery bill went up another 12%. So for me, maybe that's $60. For them, it might be $150 because they have a family. I want to have coffee with them and find out, like, what do you see that is really hurting you day to day? I know you probably don't even have time to read the news, but what would you love to see improved? Do you want more trees on your block?
And do you feel you're being represented?
Yeah. Do you want your playground near you to be actually fixed? Do you want some sort of summer program that is free for your kid? What the fuck do you want? Yeah. Do you want to make enough money that you don't have to have 2 or 3 jobs?
Yeah. I love that. Coffee with a neighbor.
Coffee with a neighbor who actually knows what it's like to do the grind and not be somebody who's like, oh, well, I'm an admin and I make 300,000 and I have no idea. I don't want a Lucille Bluth. I want the guy who's playing chess on the corner, sitting on a milk crate with the other guy playing chess on the corner, sitting on a milk crate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's the heart and soul of any city. It's not the asshole driving a fucking Tesla who lives up in the hills who only comes down to quote unquote slum it.
Yeah, no,
they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, if you're going to set up a community engagement kind of event, I don't even understand coffee with a cop. If you want to have coffee with a cop, go approach a cop and say, can I buy you a cup of coffee?
Just follow them. They get coffee all the time. They run the lights to run the reds.
So it's like, where's the community listening session? Coffee with people who are struggling. I love that. I actually think that's a great idea.
Yes, I would buy them coffee or I would buy them lunch and be like, well, tell me, what do you see in this city that you would like to see improved?
I think
what is one of the hardest things you got going on right now that you wish your city council and your mayor would fucking do?
Yeah.
And some people will say, give it to the homeless. And it's like, yeah, you know what? None of us want to see people homeless on the street. How do we fix this?
This is true. Yeah. Especially the homeless.
No, I don't want to walk by a tent. I don't know who's in the tent. And being female and walking home alone is scary fucking enough.
Yeah.
I don't know who's in that tent. But I'm not going to say they should be in jail.
Yeah. No. They should be homed.
Yes. Whatever that is. They should be stable. They should be fed. They should be whatever they need.
2017, over 8,000 zombie homes out there.
And here we are. We're at a point where it's like, oh, there's too many. Let's finally do something. And it's like, why?
Yeah, because no one has the balls to go ahead and say, all right, we're just going to have to use all the tools at our means to home people. And sometimes that's like saying, hey, you need to open up your doors and we'll compensate you for it. But you don't get to sit on a 20% occupancy in your building.
Well, and what was the mayor's little plan of rent out a room, we'll give you $1,000? How many people took advantage of that? 2?
Yeah, I think it was 3 or 4 total.
And how much did that cost to put into play?
That was such a genius idea because no one's ever thought of that before. Roommates, I have been homeless and slept on people's floors, right? I have let friends of mine who are struggling stay with me for a week here, a week there when they've needed it, right? But to say you should invite a random person into your home who's struggling and living in the streets with absolutely no coordination, no services, sort of like having a shelter bed. This seems like a really bad fucking idea.
Well, how many people is the mayor housing?
You should ask. That's a great question.
Just, curious. I'm sure he has a room.
Coffee with a stranger at your dining room table in the morning. Just leave the door open. All right. Anyway, I want to say I feel better, but I don't.
I know. Well, all right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Progress Portland is also on Facebook and Instagram, and we have event listings and updates on our website, progressportland.org. There's a content form on our website if you'd like to help out or have questions or comments. Our theme music is by the Portland band Helvetia.